You ever notice how the people who seem the most antisocial are often the ones who understand themselves the best? That friend who always says no to plans, who's suddenly too tired, too busy, maybe next week. They're not avoiding you. They're protecting something most people don't even know they have. And if you've ever felt more alive alone in your room than surrounded by people at a party, what I'm about to tell you might change how you see yourself forever. Let me tell you what nobody talks about. There's this quiet assumption in the world that if you're not out there, you're missing out. That staying home on a Friday night means something's wrong with you. That you're lonely or scared or somehow failing at life. But here's the truth. The people who love staying home aren't running from the world. They're running towards something deeper. And once you understand the psychology behind it, you'll never feel guilty about it again. So let's start with the most misunderstood part. Energy. Most people think energy is just about being tired or not tired. But it's way more specific than that. Imagine your nervous system like a cup. For some people, that cup fills up when they're around others. The laughter, the noise, the unpredictability, it pours energy into them. These are extroverts. They're battery charges in chaos. But for others, every conversation, every smile you have to fake, every, "Hey, how are you?" to someone you barely know, it's a slow leak. Drop by drop, that cup empties. And the only way to fill it back up is stillness. Silence. Home. Psychologists call this optimal arousal theory, and it's one of the most important things you can understand about yourself. Your brain has a baseline level of stimulation it needs to feel okay. Some people's baseline is high. They need the noise. They need the movement. Without it, they feel restless, bored, almost anxious. But other people's baseline is low. Too much stimulation and their system overloads. It's not about being weak or antisocial. It's about how your nervous system was built. And no amount of forcing yourself to be more outgoing is going to change your wiring. But here's where it gets even more interesting. It's not just about introversion. There's something else going on for people who love staying home. Control. Think about it. When you're out in the world, you're at the mercy of everything around you. The guy talking too loud at the table next to you. The friend who's always late. The plan that changes last minute. The small talk with someone who asks how you are but doesn't actually care. You're constantly adapting, constantly adjusting, constantly performing. And for people with anxiety or high sensitivity, or anyone who's just tired of pretending, that's exhausting. But at home, you control everything. The lighting, the temperature, the noise level, whether you talk or don't talk, whether you wear pants or don't wear pants. It's your kingdom. And for a lot of people, that sense of control isn't a luxury. It's the only place they feel safe. The only place their nervous system can actually relax. Because out there, the world is a gamble. At home, you know exactly what you're getting. But here's the part that changes everything. People who enjoy solitude, who genuinely prefer staying home, they're not doing nothing. In fact, they're often doing more than the people who are constantly busy. Studies show that people who spend time alone tend to be more creative, more introspective, better problem solvers. Because creativity doesn't happen in a crowded bar. It happens in the quiet, in the space between distractions. That moment at 2 in the morning when you're lying in bed and your brain suddenly connects two ideas you've been thinking about for weeks. That's where the magic is. Not in the Instagram story, in the stillness. And let's be real for a second. Society has this obsession with being out there. The influencers, the party pics, the live your best life culture. The idea that if you're not traveling or networking or making memories with a group of people, you're somehow wasting your youth. But what if your best life is a documentary you've been wanting to watch, a bowl of soup you made exactly how you like it, and absolutely zero obligations? What if that fills you up more than any night out ever could? That's not sad. That's self-awareness. But I need to say this because it matters more than anything else in this video. There's a difference between loving home and hiding at home. Some people stay in because it genuinely recharges them. It's where they feel most like themselves. But other people stay in because leaving feels too heavy. Because social anxiety whispers that everyone's judging you. Because past trauma made the world feel unsafe. Because depression sits on your chest and asks, what's the point? And for those people, home becomes both a refuge and a cage. So you have to ask yourself honestly, and I mean really honestly, do you stay home because it fills you up? Or because going out feels impossible? Because one is peace. The other is hiding. And knowing the difference might be the most important thing you ever figure out. But for the people who truly love staying home, the ones who aren't hiding but choosing, they're not missing out. They're just living differently, and maybe more intentionally, because they've figured out something most people spend their whole lives chasing. They've figured out what actually makes them happy, not what's supposed to make them happy, not what looks good on social media, but what genuinely, quietly, deeply brings them peace. These are the people who find joy in the smallest things. The morning coffee routine that's exactly the same every day. The favorite spot on the couch that's shaped itself to your body. The way the light comes through the window at sunset and hits the wall just right. These are the moments most people rush past, the moments that don't make it into highlight reels. But they're real, they're yours, and they're enough. Psychologists have a term for this. Low stimulation preference. It means you don't need the world to entertain you. Your inner world is rich enough. You don't need constant input, constant novelty, constant validation. You're comfortable in your own head. And honestly, that's a superpower most people don't have. Most people can't sit with themselves for more than 10 minutes without reaching for their phone, without needing a distraction, without feeling like something's missing. But you know how to be still. You know how to be alone without being lonely. And that's rare. So if you're someone who turns down invitations without guilt, who feels genuinely happy on a solo Saturday, who'd rather rewatch your comfort show for the 5th time than go out and make memories, listen to me. You're not broken. You're not boring. You're not wasting your life. You're just wired for depth over noise, for peace over performance, for substance over spectacle. And the world needs more of that, not less. Because here's the thing nobody tells you. The people who are always busy, always social, always out there, a lot of them are running. Running from silence. Running from themselves. Running from the uncomfortable truth that maybe they don't actually like their own company. But you've made peace with yourself. And that's the kind of confidence most people will never understand. So the next time someone asks why you're always home, why you never want to go out, why you're so boring, you don't owe them an explanation. But if you want one, here it is. You're not avoiding life. You're living it on your terms. You're protecting your energy. You're honoring your nervous system. You're choosing peace over pressure. And that's not something to apologize for. That's something to be proud of. Now I want to know, are you someone who genuinely loves staying home? Or do you think maybe you've been hiding without realizing it? Because both are okay. But only one of them is a choice. And figuring out which one you are, that's freedom. If this video made you feel seen, if it put words to something you've always felt but never understood, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Because this channel exists to explain human behavior in a way that actually makes sense. In a way that makes you feel less alone. In a way that reminds you you're not broken, you're just different. And different is exactly what the world needs more of. The next video is going to dig even deeper into why you are the way you are, and I promise it's going to hit harder than this one. Click it. You'll thank me later.